Good evening. Today is Saturday, August 21st, and this is the first of a series of podcasts from the Aging Patriot. Now, many of you know who I am already. You know my real name. The Aging Patriot, I think, is apropos since I am 61. I've been fighting this fight for a long time. And many of you who do know me know that some time ago I said I was done with this, that I wouldn't get engaged in politics and world affairs anymore, that it was providing too much stress, and that based on what I was seeing around the world, I was taking a sabbatical and posting occasionally, but not writing my usual letters to friends and fellow patriots in this. But based on what's been going on, I feel a responsibility to tell people what I observe. And I am observant. I research, I read all news, I look into things, and deeper than just what a headline may say or what some mainstream media might say. I'm hoping this is going to be a series of podcasts that you will join with me in understanding what's going on in our world and what we can do about it, hopefully. Many things are in our control if we're willing to sacrifice and stand up for ourselves. Our freedoms are at risk. They have been at risk for a long time, and it's only gotten significantly worse. There is inherent evil going on in the world, and if you don't see it, you're blind, because it's in every walk of our life. Geopolitics, domestic politics, our school systems, our culture as a whole is under attack. And also on the individual level, we're seeing evil coming out of people, committing murders, committing human trafficking, and a variety of things. And we will cover these in podcasts. So I hope you'll join with me in this and take what I say to heart and share it. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button, because it's important for me to build a following. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. What's the elephant in the room? Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a stain and a shame on America as a whole. We knew going into 2020, when Joe Biden was elected, that we had an inept, weak, and feeble-minded president that took the place of one of the best presidents we've ever had in our history. And looking at Afghanistan and what our perception is to the world is just horrendous. As a young teen, I remember watching the news, watching Walter Cronkite and CBS News, and watching the last helicopters leaving Saigon as we abandoned Vietnam. And for decades, this was a stain on America, a shame to us, a shame how we treated the veterans. Now, in the new millennium, we had Afghanistan. Afghanistan was a country that the Russians had failed to subdue. It became a hotbed for terrorism, and prior administrations went in with the objective of stopping one of the seats of terrorism. It's where we went after Osama bin Laden after 9/11, and we had a presence there, hoping to turn them into a democratic nation and stop the Taliban, which wanted to set up a religious government, Sharia law, taking away the rights of people, killing people, and supporting terrorism. But we were there too long. And it was really up to that country to decide for itself, to defend itself. 2,300 American lives lost, 20,000 servicemen and women wounded over a 20-year period. So maybe it was time to go home. But when you decide to leave something like that, You first make sure that the boots on the ground, the Americans that are there, the interpreters that helped us, the people that would be most impacted by Taliban taking over the nation were safe, especially our American citizens. And instead, what happened? They just let the Taliban roll through the country and then pointing fingers. Well, we didn't have a plan. It was Donald Trump's fault. It was prior administration's fault. It was the military's fault. It was the Department of Defense fault. Yeah, it was. There is one person, and he says the buck stops with him. Well, the buck stops with Joe Biden. And in his ineptitude, he allowed our American citizens to be left behind. And to this day, what we're doing right now is still leaving them behind. We haven't sent people in to go get them out. We said, well, if you can get to the airport, we'll airlift you out. They can't get to the airport. The Taliban is hunting them down. And what are we doing about it? Nothing. Nothing. Today, an insult to injury was pictures of the Taliban with captured uniforms, reenacting the Iwo Jima flag raising, slap in the face to the Americans. We left them millions of dollars of supplies, arms, helicopters, Humvees, you name it. Who's in charge of this? Who makes a decision that says we will put American citizens in peril? We will enable these terrorists and not do anything about it. So what can we do about it? You've got to raise your voices. You've got to contact your elected officials. I know. You'll say, nobody listens to me. They don't listen to me. They won't take my phone call. Doesn't matter. You gotta raise your voice. If you don't say anything, you are tacitly allowing them to get away with this. It needs to be loud. This is the credit we have to give the left. When they're upset about something, they let you know. Even if they're in a minority, it will sound like they're a majority because they are loud. Okay, we need to get loud. This is not even about conservative versus progressive, Democrat versus Republican. This is Americans. This is as bad as Jimmy Carter and the hostage situation in Iran. Okay, it is serious. And not only is it serious for what's going on there, but it is serious to people who are against America to see we are weak. China is seeking to take over the Pacific, and we've just basically given them a green light. They can do anything they want to Taiwan. They can do anything they want to Hong Kong. Heck, they can do anything they want in the South China Sea because we've shown weakness. The Russians, I've said all along, Russia was not as threatening as China, but they can be. They can be when they see a weak America. Even the UK has come out and blasted us and said, how can we trust you as a NATO partner when you just leave people behind? This is terrible. And the lives, imagine being a parent of somebody whose son or daughter served and died for nothing over there or was wounded. And, we talk about 2,300 dead, 20,000 wounded. What about the soldiers who are wounded mentally? PTSD from the things they had to go through over there. They're not considered wounded because they weren't shot in the arm or the leg or have a prosthesis. They're wounded mentally. War is hell. And being in that situation there was hell on many of them. So I'm speaking to you today to say this is just one of the many things we need to address. I'm addressing the elephant in the room, Afghanistan. I could be talking to you about critical race theory. I could be talking to you about Democrats' efforts to subjugate and change voting laws so that they have an unfair advantage. I could talk to you about the border situation, and we will talk about those things. Future podcasts are going to talk about those things. And I'm hoping that I can get guest speakers to come in, video with me, I'll edit the videos in, etc. You will see improved videos. I haven't shared any screen captures or anything like that. This is day one. This is podcast one of many. And this is to instill in all of you, I hear you. America hears you. But we've got to let our elected leaders hear us and say, this is not going to stand. The things that are happening to us today are not going to stand. Our freedoms are being taken away. We are led like sheep on a weekly basis with changing information on COVID. Okay? Got to give Donald Trump credit for something. He was very truthful. And that's why they hated him. Can't handle the truth. The truth was this came out of China. The truth was this came out of a lab. And it's taken almost 2 years for that information to finally come forth and go, you know what? He was right. But playing the politics game, there are so many out there that would rather hear sweet words and be lulled to sleep than have somebody speak the truth and say, this is no good. Now, I mentioned earlier with Afghanistan that they tried to blame this on the prior administration and Donald Trump because Donald Trump made a peace deal with the Taliban. That peace deal had nothing to do with abandoning American citizens, leaving them behind. It had to do with saying, okay, we're out of here. And, you know, we're hoping you've changed and not sponsoring terror. But, you know, it's time for the Americans to go home and for the Afghani citizens and military to fend for themselves. Great. And Joe Biden could have done the same thing. The difference is Donald Trump would not have left the people behind first. This would not have been the fiasco. It was Biden administration that canceled all of these emergency plans for evacuation and different things. Even the left-wing news is talking about how last June they canceled that program. Why would you cancel that program? You know, if we need to pull out of an area or if we need to evacuate an area, let's say we don't even have military there, but we're telling our citizens, you need to come home. It's dangerous. Why don't we have a group who's in charge of planning how to get those citizens safely home? If you or a loved one of somebody who's over there, you have even more incentive to contact your legislatures, okay? Contact your congressman, contact your senator. I don't care if they're the opposite party. Even better, fill their ear, you know? My son, my daughter, my husband, my wife, my cousin, whoever is in danger there. What are you doing to get him out? Okay? But the key to what I'm trying to explain to you, and it will be in every podcast, is it's time to get loud. I cannot sit back any longer, and neither should you. We can't just be the slow-boiled frogs that day after day after day our rights are taken away, day after day the missteps of this administration occur, and we just sit there and say, well, it's not in my driveway yet. It hasn't affected me yet. It is affecting you. You're the slow-boiled frog that till one day it is in your driveway, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's just become common. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you will share this with others and tune in next week. I plan on doing these weekly on Saturdays, and I will keep them brief, 15 minutes, unless we have more. And I hope each one improves. Thank you for listening. This is the aging Patriot who's speaking to you with his heart. God bless you all. God bless the United States. Thank you.